Welcome into Second Down right here on ESPN Radio. Hope you guys are having a great Wednesday out there. Christian Gokel alongside Cody Queen and Cam Urshery here. Big night coming up.
Woo!
I mean, I think a few months ago, no one thought we'd be here. I mean, a lot of people thought we'd be reacting to news last night in terms of the Atlanta Hawks with all the old draft lottery stuff, right? Start of the season, that was a pretty significant date last night for the Atlanta Hawks, but we don't have time for that now. We have more important things to focus on, like a 7-game set coming up against the Milwaukee Bucks. That's just my prediction. I think it's going to 7. But tonight, game 1 of that series, Hawks at Milwaukee. Hawks have been unbelievable on the road so far this postseason. Cam, we didn't think we were going to be here, but here we are talking about the Hawks in the Eastern Conference Finals. We didn't think this is who they'd be playing, right? There is that super team with Kyrie Irving, James Harden, a guy named Kevin Durant on that team, right? Now we're playing the Bucks and former Hawks coach Mike Budenholzer. So many storylines going in here. No one thought this was going to happen. No one thinks it's going to continue either, apparently. 15 out of 17 ESPN analysts picking the Bucks in the series. Ramona Shelburne for the win there, picking the Hawks in 6, I believe. But Cam, here we go. Game 1 coming up tonight. What are your feelings here on game day?
I feel good. Like you said, last night we would have thought the Hawks was in the draft lottery. Tonight, bigger fish to fry. Feel pretty good about it. Even if the Hawks don't go win game 1, I think if you still win on the road, it's successful, whether it's game 1 or 2. But I think they're going to come out swinging as a must-win tonight, and try to get this victory tonight, knowing you don't want to go down 1-0 against this Milwaukee team. But I'm feeling good about it. I think they have a chance to win the series. I don't know what those 15 out of 17 think or what they've been watching this playoffs, but they got a very good chance this series to, upset the Bucks and go to the finals. It's good for basketball.
Can the Hawks win another game with Trae Young having the kind of performance he had in Game 7 against the Sixers?
Yeah, it depends. If they're able to play defense on the Bucks, because the Bucks could get cold just like Trae Young. They could get cold just like the Hawks. So if the Bucks are just as cold as the Hawks, they may have a chance. But I mean, you know the writing on the wall. Trae has to produce pretty much every game for this Hawks team to win. And if you're gonna have an off game, you got to give us what he did. I think against Philly, that 25-18 type of game. If you're off, so it's gonna be a tough one.
And I think a lot of people, Cody, assume Trae Young, and I think maybe there's just people outside of Atlanta that haven't really watched him. Trae Young, 3-point shooter, right? Like when that was the thing when he came in, he's supposed to be in the Steph Curry mold, right? Just a guy who can hit a shot from anywhere, which he can. Like, I mean, he in the last couple minutes hit that shot from the logo against the 76ers because they backed off of him. But really, I think where this series is going to come down to is his ability to get into the paint. Yep. Hit that floater, and then when it's not the floater and it looks like the floater, that lob for the oop to Clint Capella. I think that's really where this Hawks offense starts. I think that's going to have to be huge.
Yeah, a lot of people think he's like this wide range from the, from the arch kind of like shooter. I from what I see a lot, he can do that, yes. But my favorite move of his, whenever he gets up, gets between two defenders, gets on the other side of the hoop, throws it behind his back, a little layup, some weird little layup thing that he does, and he scores that thing every freaking time because they think he's going to go back out to the perimeter, and he doesn't go back
When
out.
you're short, you have to learn how to hit the reverse layup. Am I right, Cam?
Yeah, I like short basketball players. You got to learn different moves, different skills, different layup packages. So, yeah, Trae Young's crafty, dude.
Yeah, he is, dude. And I love watching that where he just got these two big guys getting ready to tower over him, and then he just goes past them, and then they're like, oh, he's going to go out to the perimeter or pass it out, and he just throws it behind him.
Yeah.
And boom, it smokes it. Like, he's so crafty. His skills are amazing. 3-point shooter, yeah, I could say he can do that.
No, it's not that he can do it. He's really good at it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I think you're doing a disservice to him if you think that's all he can do.
Exactly. I think he's a good mid-range. He can attack the basket. He can make it. If he's inside the paint and he's shooting, he's making it.
How big is Bogdanovich's health, Cam?
Oh, that's huge. Yeah, they need him bad. That's really that's huge. If he's not healthy, there, I don't see them winning this series. That's huge. I'm not gonna lie. Already missing Hunter. You need that shooter, and then Bogdanovich is like 6'6". 6'7" can spread the floor. So yeah, that would be a loss if he's not healthy.
Yeah, if he's not healthy, they're just going to get big manned out, right? Right?
I
They're
think
just
if
going to
he's not
get
healthy,
just gonna get big manned out.
you take away your second most consistent scorer.
Yeah,
is really where I would be worried on that because they have bodies they can put in that are tall and can guard somebody. But I'm more worried on the offensive side of the ball because I think Herter had a really good game 7, but I think consistently throughout the year, Bogdanovich, since he's been healthy, has been the second most important person on that offense. But in your mind, Cam, how big does John Collins have to be in this series? Because he kind of said it in some of his post-game press conferences after game 7 where he's like, listen, I'd rather win than get the stats. And so he's saying his stat lines might not indicate how big of an impact he's having on games.
He has to be the best player in this series. Well, the biggest impact because he's guarding the best player in Milwaukee, which we would presume he's guarding Giannis. We think so. He has to show up. It's no off games this series, no 0-point game like he had against the Knicks. You got to show up defensively. And like you said, we're not going to judge the stat line. I've never been a stat line judger. I watch the game from a first eye perspective, but he's going to have to be big in order for them to win. He's got to be big.
From what I see, John Collins, he's a very good defensive guy, especially a rebounder. The 5 out of the last 6 games, he had double-digit rebounds. You know what I mean? So that is kind of guy you get him near the hoop, and hopefully you can snatch up. If you do miss one, if they do freaking miss it, he can get it usually every time. So that will help a lot if he keeps on doing what he's doing, like he did against Philadelphia. Those rebounds just keep on coming. If he's getting them instead of losing them, that's actually a big thing.
I mean, the rebound boards are going to be huge in this series just because of how good Milwaukee is. I mean, you have a guy of Giannis's size that can move like he can. Obviously, rebounds are going to be huge. And they got 3-point shooters to where if you give up that offensive rebound, they're going to have guys that are left wide open for some of those 3-pointers there. So I think that, I definitely think that's going to be a big part of the series. I think the biggest storyline in this series is pressure, right? Because the Hawks have done a good job for the most part of not letting pressure get to them, right? We've said it since the end of round 1, they're playing with house money.
Yeah.
Right. They weren't supposed to be here. And so they can go out there. I thought Reggie Miller had a really interesting tweet during game 7 for the Hawks where he said, it's going to tell me a lot about Trae Young, how many shots he has after this, because he started off really cold. And so basically Reggie Miller was saying, I don't care if you start 2 for 20. I want to see you in 2 for 30, 2 for 35, because that means you didn't lose confidence in your shot. You're just like, hey, sometimes it's not going to go in. I'm going to keep shooting. I think if the Hawks can maintain that and just say, hey, if we got an open look, pull the trigger. Because how many times did the Sixers, it wasn't just Ben Simmons in that series. How many times did the Sixers pass up an open look, right? Where they just couldn't pull the trigger. I think if the Hawks can pull the trigger, play with just the no pressure, we're playing against a team that's supposed to be here. We're the underdog, 15 out of 17 people picked against us. Just pull the trigger and let all the pressure go off. That's what they did really well in the first half of game 1 of the last series. That's how you get such a huge lead when they're playing with all the pressure on their back and you have no pressure on yours. But that being said, Cam, that's all well and good. But when all of a sudden you start looking around and saying, oh, damn, we're in the Eastern Conference Finals. We're 4 wins away from going to the finals. Even if you are the underdog, that pressure can start creeping in.
I mean, that's true, but I like how this Hawks team, they're playing with house money. They're the 5th seed. So if they lose, they're supposed to lose. So they could come out just swinging like they did last series. And even in that game 7, when they went cold, I think they started off the 4th quarter 0-6. Gallinari hit like a huge 3. And I mean, I love the team.
Gallinari looks like the guy at the YMCA who just sort of stands on the corner waiting for that 3-point shot, doesn't jump, doesn't move his feet, just catches it and shoots. It's truly amazing that those balls go in. I have no idea how. They look like bricks, and it's just nothing but the bottom of the net every single time.
He hits timely threes, and I like how the Hawks, they keep shooting when they missing shots. I like how they just keep shooting, but I mean, they're playing with house money. There's nothing to lose.
If Trae Young needs somebody to look to for when he goes on a cold streak to just keep shooting, it's Gallinari. Gallinari will rip off 6 straight 3-pointers, clunk them all out the back, and then he'll hit that last one, and he'll hit you with it, right? It's nothing.
Yeah, Gallinari, Herter, and Bogdanovich. They got some snipers over there. So, I mean, I'm proud of the Hawks anyway for making it this far, but I think they're still going to advance. I don't think it's over yet. One of those
things. We talked about it with Florida this year, right? Florida missed a window.
Yeah.
Right. There's only so many windows when you're a team that doesn't have in college football, we'd say the number 1, number 2 overall recruiting classes like Alabama, where that window is always open for them, right?
Yep.
Some teams you have to take advantage of the window, right? In the NBA, it would be comparing it to the Lakers with Anthony Davis and LeBron James, or the Nets with Harden and those guys over there and Kevin Durant, right? Their window's always open because of who they have on their team. I'm not saying it won't be in the future for the Hawks, but I'm just looking out, and there's a chance you could go to the NBA Finals, and I'm saying this, it's a very remote chance, but there's a chance you can win the NBA Finals without having to play Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, right? There's a chance you could win the NBA Finals without having to play any of those.
Yeah.
Right?
If they could get
But
through
that's
this
what
series,
happened with Florida last year, right? You had Kyle Trask, Kyle Pitts, Kadarius Toney. You had an explosive offense. You got to take advantage of your windows while you have it. They threw a shoe and then lost by a single score to Alabama in the SEC championship, and that's how your season ends, right? So I think you got to take advantage of your windows. I think this is a huge window for the Hawks, because would it surprise anyone if next year the Hawks get bounced in the first round?
absolutely not.
No. So it's like, so look where you are right now. Take advantage of the window. Just quickly here, Cam, we got a question from Virgil. He says, looking in the offseason, is Bogey expendable with the thinking of Herder taking a bigger role?
No. No, I don't think so. I think you keep both. Yeah, you paid a lot for Bogey to get there. Remember, he was going to Milwaukee first, and then he signed to Atlanta later on. So I think you keep both. They're both snipers. Why trade one just to, keep the other? Keep them both. They're a good tag team duo.
If they are starting to look, and we'll take all your questions. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter as well, or on YouTube. And then you can always call in 912-342-7184 if you want to talk about the series coming up or the Braves, whatever you want to talk about, just give us a call. But is it starting to look like, Cam, that like John Collins might get the short end here if they go out and start trying to whale hunt a little bit, start trying to go after guys like Bradley Beal out there? Could John Collins, a guy like that, be kind of on the short end of the dealing table?
Yeah, I think so, because Hunter, he took a huge step. Even though he's injured, he took a huge step this year. I think he was averaging like 16, and he's your best perimeter defender. He could guard 3, 4, and the 2. If you could get John Collins in the trade and package a deal for somebody like Bradley Beal and maybe a first round, of course.
Trade. He's a free agent next year.
Yeah, he's
Just
looking
don't
for,
resign.
yeah, he's looking
You
for
can sign and trade.
Yep.
You can sign and trade.
That's where I was thinking was what Cam said, the sign and trade there.
Yeah,
You
okay.
sign him to a deal and then deal him away.
All right.
I just think just kind of that position you're looking at, because if you're looking at the floor, right, Kevin Herter, I think, has earned a bigger timeshare of the floor, to Virgil's point. I think, but I really think the backcourt for you right now is Trae Young and Bogey. I think that's a really good backcourt, and then kind of build around that. I'd love Clint Capella. I think he's a dude you can build around, right? Because he kind of plays that center power forward hybrid for you. I mean, what, he's 6'11", Cam, maybe 6'10", and he led the league in rebounds.
Yep.
I mean, he's been an unbelievable piece for you. I think he's a very underrated signing so far for the Hawks. So really fun that we're actually getting to talk about Hawks basketball coming up this late in the season, right? We're actually getting to do game previews instead of talking about who they should draft with a lottery pick. So just really excited about all of that. We'll have all the reaction coming up for you tomorrow here on ESPN Radio 2 Game 1. Also, last night, the Braves get a big win over the Mets, but kind of a disappointing stat that we're going to dive into next here on Second Down about that win and the last few wins for the Atlanta Braves. Also going to talk a little college football. We got some new lines coming out that we're going to dive into for some of the biggest games of the college football season in 2021 as well. All that coming up right here on ESPN Radio. Second Down on ESPN Radio is presented to you by the Uniform Source. Cody, leave me alone.
Your monkey toes, dude.
Cam, do you ever pick anything up with your feet? Like shirt on the
No.
ground, shirt
No.
on the ground, grab it with your foot, pick it up.
No.
He's got these long finger toes that he just like grabs stuff, and everything, all primate like. It's weird.
Listen, if you got them, use them, right?
There's a fan in here that we turn on during like breaks, and he like doesn't even use his like hands to turn it off. He just like feet. Just
Well, to be fair, the plug's on the floor.
it is.
And so I just kind of wrap my big toe around it with, I don't know, my
You like
what
headlock
do you
it,
call
yeah.
your second toe? Is that your
Your
middle,
middle toe?
Yeah, like it.
toe?
Middle toe
Your middle toe. But see, like that doesn't seem right, right?
or the long
Because
toe.
There's 5 toes, so the middle toe to me would be the third one, the one in the middle.
Technically, yes.
Yeah, but that would be
Yes.
so your big toe's like your thumb,
Your long toe, what do we call that?
but your big toe's like your thumb.
Yes.
And so I guess the index finger of my foot,
There you go.
my index toe.
Index toe.
So I used my big toe and my index toe. We're getting into it right here. Because you have your pinky toe, which is the same as your pinky finger, right?
Some orthopedic
They're the
stuff.
ones that you could lose and be fine with, right? Like fine without.
I've looked at your toes too many times already in the past like 5 minutes. I don't know what I'm doing.
The one that's just one inside of your pinky toe would then be your ring toe.
Ring toe. Is that where
No,
girls
ring toe.
and like gypsies wear like
Ring toe
Ring toe?
sounds like a kind of disease.
ring toe?
Like you have ring
Yeah,
toe.
it does,
You might
it
want to get
does.
that checked
That
out.
does sound like a disease. Yeah.
Got back from Afghanistan with ring toe.
Got some ring toe, yeah.
You want to get that checked out. But anyway, I used my big toe and my index toe
I'm gonna Google ring toe.
to
and just-
unplug the fan. I don't see why that's abnormal. I've seen a lot of people. I don't know that I've seen. I might just be making this up and hoping other people are weird like me. Like if I have,
What am I doing in my life? I'm like Googling ring toes and stuff like that. What do you guys got me doing?
yeah, don't let anybody look through Cody's search history there.
No,
No, but it's
junk.
like if there's a shirt on the ground or there's like some article of clothing on the ground in my room, pick it up with the foot.
And I know you like toss it up too. I bet you because you get
Oh
that,
yeah,
you get that grip. You're like,
yeah.
woof, it just
Yeah, you
flies
smell
up.
it.
Oh.
Flip. And honestly, if like my hamper is open, I'll just kind of whip it.
He said, Trey Young,
Yeah,
whoop, call me
whip
Ice
my-
Trey. What's
whip
up?
My foot into the hamper, like it's a skill.
Do you like do the 3-point shot or do you do like the dunk?
Oh, that's something we do need to talk about. Were you aware? And this might just be age. Were you aware that the term kids use now when shooting a product, whether it's a paper ball into a trash can or playing some sort of beer pong or water pong, whatever they're playing,
It's
the
Kobe.
the term they use now is Giannis.
That's not funny.
Are you
You think this is a joke to say this on there?
Or like when they're playing like some pickup basketball and they shoot that fadeaway, they say Giannis.
So, no.
The
I guess
disrespect.
they're missing.
No, they're missing. That's fair.
Yeah.
I've heard this now from multiple people.
Shame.
Wow.
I mean, times are changing. Stephen A. Smith saying Devin Booker's the next Kobe.
It's always Kobe.
And kids are-
Kobe.
Yeah, and kids are saying Giannis. And that's what the other thing I was going to say is the reason we say Kobe isn't for the fact that it's going in, it's the fadeaway is
Yes.
where it started. Is when you
Yeah.
start shooting the fadeaway, you yell Kobe, and then that kind of transitioned over to everything, right? If you're just standing with both feet on the ground, shooting a paper ball into a trash can, don't say Kobe.
It's true.
Don't say Kobe.
True. Yeah.
That's not Kobe.
It's a free throw.
You're shooting a free throw.
Yep.
You say Embiid because that's what you're doing,
Mm.
right? No jump to it at all. You're saying Embiid, right? No. If you're gonna yell Kobe while shooting something, you best be hitting a fadeaway. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
Oh, you're 100% right.
It's a Kobe.
100%.
If
What-
you're fading away, it's a free throw. If you got your feet concreted down and down.
And also when you're shooting things with your feet.
No, I don't know what the heck's that called. Circuit shot. I don't know.
No, I can't get
Trick
down
shot.
with
I
that.
think it's not a crime.
It's got to be.
Yeah, but that's where we're at right now. Anyway, moving on.
Heebie-jeebies, dude. You get me.
Speaking of things that shouldn't be in existence, like picking things up with your feet. Do you guys see Max Scherzer and Sergio Roma lose it last night?
Oh, dude, we were gaming last night, and you were like ecstatic about this.
This was
dude.
Cam. Did you see this?
Mm-mm.
So last night
I heard about it.
we saw a couple days ago when Jacob deGrom was just absolutely decimating the Atlanta Braves. The umpires now coming out checking for sticky substances, right? Checking you for foreign substances on the glove, on the hat, on the belt. They're basically searching you. They have you have no rights. They don't have to have a warrant.
Yeah, I've been there.
They just search you, right? So last night, Phillies are playing the Nationals. You have Max Scherzer on the mound for the Nats, dominating, right? Just Max Scherzer stuff. Gets checked at the end of the first inning. Gets checked again in the third inning. And then Joe Girardi again in the fifth inning asked the umpires to check him. Joe Girardi, being the manager for the Philadelphia Phillies, asked the umpires to check Max Scherzer. In the third inning, when they checked him, Scherzer was a little bit petulant about it. I mean, understandably so, but like kind of like stuck his arms out wide, head off to the side, like, yeah, go ahead.
Like
Me.
TSA stuff. Oh, yeah.
Search me, whatever you want to do. He was genuinely pissed off in the fifth. Like, walked, like, as Girardi called it, and the umpires started walking to him, four of them started walking towards him, ripped off his hat, threw it, took his glove, threw it, untucked his shirt, unbuckled his belt buckle, and it was just staring at him like, yeah, just go ahead. No, frisk me. Everything. I'll take my pants off right now. I'll take my shirt off. What else do you want? Like, genuinely pissed off. Sergio Romo, same thing. Comes up to check him, and these poor umpires. Comes up to check him,
right?
Belt off, pants down. Like, here we go. Search me. And I do think it's amazing because this is a rule. We talked about this yesterday. This is a rule that Major League Baseball has implemented during the middle of a season with no structure to it. I think there should be penalties now. Like, if in any other sport, if you challenge and you're wrong, you lose something.
Yeah.
Lose a timeout, right? If you're a manager in baseball and you accuse somebody having a sticky substance on them, you stop the game. Umpires have to go up to them, check them for the sticky substance, and there's no substances. You should lose something.
Yep.
But no, Joe Girardi got to do it as much as he wants to. Now, Joe Girardi, when he realized he was being a jerk and realized everyone hated him, decided that, Max Scherzer, because Max Scherzer the next inning stared at him, like just eye contact the entire time as he walked off the next inning, stared him down. Joe Girardi kind of got his feelings hurt a little bit, decided he wanted to fight Max Scherzer, coming out like, well, what?
Come at me, bro.
The most amazing part, I wish I remembered his name, but the pitching coach for the Nationals was kind of pantomiming, making fun of Joe Girardi from the dugout, saying, hold me back. It's like, you're not going to do anything, Joe Girardi. You get drugged by Max Scherzer, number one.
It's true.
But you just knew that nobody liked you.
You want to get beat up on TV?
You were getting booed by everyone. Everyone hated you in that moment. And you kind of felt it a little bit. And so you got your feelings hurt and went out there and tried to start bumping your chest and trying to fight somebody. I think it's so lame from Major League Baseball. I think it's lame from the umpires. Completely on Max Scherzer's side. Wish he would have taken his pants all the way down to the whitey tighties. Like, just make a mockery of what is a mockery.
What would you do for it as a punishment? A strike? An out?
I think something.
An out, baby.
Penalty.
Give him an out.
That's an interesting question. I don't think you affect the game like that. Like, that would be like taking a down away from somebody in football. Like, I don't think you.
There are rules where you do lose a down.
Yeah, but that's stuff like where you're manipulating counts or like where you intentional grounding and stuff like that, where the down you lose is because of the play. So there's certain stuff like that, but that's not because of a challenge to where you actually lose a play in the game. It's interesting. I do think it's interesting inside of that, but like maybe you lose your ability to challenge again after you're wrong one time.
There you go.
So you can challenge once. If you're wrong, you don't get to do it again.
Yep.
Like I think maybe something like that, but I also think at the same time, managers around the league watched that last night and they were like, man, I don't want to be Joe.
Yeah. No.
Like, but I mean, as a competitor, right? Like if you were a coach in a dugout, Cam, and you thought there was a chance that the pitcher was using a foreign substance, like as a competitor, are you going like to the umpire and being like, do you mind just searching that guy for that substance?
It's hard for me to answer that. Me personally, I just say let them play ball. If it's not like game breaking, which is pretty much not game breaking, people are still hitting, just leave it alone. But as a competitor, It's hard for me to say. It just depends on the situation. Me personally, I'll probably say no right now. I wouldn't necessarily care. I'd be like, guys, I mean, you're still able to hit the ball, go out there and hit the ball. That's how I am. And let's just, even if they're cheating, let's just beat the cheater then.
I think it's so lame that it's just you have no proof, but because you're getting beat, you're like cheating.
Yep.
Cheating.
Search them.
I don't
strip them.
I don't think coaches should have that ability. I think if anything, if you want to have like a lot of sports have that extra official, if you want to have an umpire that's like watching a camera and you have a camera on a pitcher and you see the pitcher like go to his glove after every pitch, or you like see him sort of touch his belt after every pitch or his back pocket or something or his hat, and you're suspicious about it, then maybe you instigate it. And that way, you know what? We're the umpires, we're the officials, we officiate the game. People aren't supposed to like us anyway. We'll go do that. But I think giving an opposing manager the ability to ask for one sucks.
I think it's too much. It should be up to the refs.
That's what I'm saying. I think it should only be an umpire decision.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. It should be up to the refs 110%. You shouldn't be having these managers doing their own. That's not their job. It's not their job to make sure someone's cheating or not.
Wow, all three of my
umpire.
guys just struck out right there. It couldn't be the fact that
Yep.
they're not good,
Yep.
or it couldn't be the fact that the pitcher's just really good. He's got to be cheating, checking for the substance.
Exactly. He doesn't get paid to make sure the game runs smoothly. All that stuff. That's the umpires. That's the umpire's job. So how is it all of a sudden that we make this new rule in the middle of the freaking season?
Yep.
That it is not up to the umpires anymore. It's like just a manager.
Well, no, it's up to both. It's up to both right now.
Well, it should be only up to the umpires. And that's just some manager getting mad, be like, dude, my boys are getting smoked. Check them. Because you know how emotional these managers are anyways. So they're going to be like this. And hopefully we don't see anymore. Hopefully they watch this
what are
and
you
like,
talking about?
and they're like, dude, I don't want
every night.
I don't want this.
I want this clown show to keep going.
No.
That's absolutely what it is. Is this a clown show?
It's bad for baseball.
No, I mean, but no. What is baseball? Like, because it's bad. You know, it's bad for Major League Baseball. The front offices. I think it's great for like TV and stuff like that. I find it absolutely entertaining to watch these pitchers say, like, you know what? Every time, come on, search me every time. I'll throw a pitch. Come out here and check me every single time. I loved it. I mean, if they're gonna make a mockery out of you, make a mockery out of them. I'm here for all of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here for the train wreck.
Old boy's here for the smoke. Oh yeah, he's here.
I'm here for the train wreck. And like, look, good on Max Scherzer and good on Roma. Like, it's what you can do.
Yeah.
Right. If you just kind of sit there and take it, nothing's gonna change. So Max Scherzer, get pissed off. Take your pants off, man. I'm here. I'm here for it. We're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna talk about some college football lines when we come back right here on Second Down. Oh, one of my favorite traditions, talking about lines, talking about gambling, talking about over-unders, talking about point spreads, talking about win totals.
I dig it.
It's all right there in the forefront of my mind at all times. We are right around the corner from the 2021 college football season. I know a lot of people out there, Cody, getting tired of talking about the macro stuff, right? The overarching, everything's changing. It's all going to be different in the future. Some people just want to watch the football, right? And we have some lines for some of the biggest games coming up in 2021. And I wanted to talk about some of them because I think some of the lines are fascinating. And it tells you either A, where Vegas's head is at about how good these teams are going to be, or B, where a lot of people's wallets and pocketbooks and, I don't know, Apple Pay are at right now with how good these college teams are going to be, right? So the first one I wanted to talk about, week one, obviously, Bama, Miami in the, I almost said the Georgia Dome, in Mercedes-Benz. Alabama is a 17.5-point favorite. Now you're like, Christian, they're Alabama. They just went undefeated and won the national championship. Miami's been pretty okay. 17.5 points sounds about right. I'm not going to inherently disagree with you, but let's take a step back and think about what that means. A team that's replacing their quarterback, top two wide receivers, leading rusher, not too much on defense, but they are replacing some stuff on defense, but a couple of offensive linemen that started for him last year. So again, quarterback, receivers, running back, offensive linemen, and some on defense, versus a team that's bringing back a majority of their starters. They added a Power 5 corner to their team, and they're bringing back a starting quarterback that's been at least in the Heisman conversation in years past. And yet that team that has the quarterback coming back is a 17.5-point dog.
Yeah, I agree with it.
I mean, I'm not saying I disagree with it, but I do think it's wild that that's where we're at. We've seen Bryce Young take a few snaps during a season, and we saw him play really well in the spring game. And based off that, they're beating Miami by 3 scores.
Oh, yeah. It's Alabama. They lose talent all the time.
Is that the, I mean, because this is basically what I'm getting from that. Is that the breakdown? It's Alabama.
Yeah, because they have a recruiting class that is amazing every year, on top of the greatest coach to ever grace this earth. So, yeah, I have no problem with them being, if they did 20 points, I'd be all right with that.
Cam?
I 100% agree. I can't argue with that. Give me Bama by maybe 4 scores. It might get that ugly.
We've seen what Alabama's been able to do to teams in that stadium. It's basically their home away from home.
Yep.
They've won more playoff games in Mercedes-Benz than the Atlanta Falcons have. So
yes, that's true.
There is that to go on there as well. But that being said, I wanted to go through a few other ones. Georgia is still a 3.5-point dog to Clemson. I don't think that line is going to move very much. If anything, it's going to move back towards Georgia a little bit, because I think a lot of people see that as 51-49 in Clemson's favor, right? It could go either way. Auburn at Penn State. I want to throw this one in there for the homie PJ Zuko. I think that's going to be one of the cooler games of the season. Get to see Auburn go up to Happy Valley and take on Penn State. Get to see the whiteout. And I think Penn State's going to be a little bit better this year. Penn State, a 7-point favorite at home against Auburn. This one, BJ brought this up yesterday as maybe one of the most important games of the college football season. And I'm not going to disagree with him, even though it is an out-of-conference game. Cincinnati at Notre Dame. And you're like, well, why would that one be huge? I think if Cincinnati can beat Notre Dame, they accomplish 2 tasks. Number one, they keep Notre Dame out of the college football playoff. And number 2, by doing that, they open the door for themselves to go to the college football playoff as the first G5 team to do so, right? I think if Cincinnati can go undefeated in back-to-back seasons with Ritter at quarterback, I know Myjai Sanders, former Cannon County product, is a really hot prospect on their defensive line. I think if they go undefeated 2 years in a row with a full schedule under their belt and beat Notre Dame in South Bend, they're going to have a really strong argument for a 4th spot.
I don't think they're going to win against Notre Dame.
I think right now they're a better team than Notre Dame.
I do think Cincinnati is a great team. I think they got a great young man out there starting as quarterback.
Yeah, Ritter's a baller, man.
I think he's going to get drafted at a high pick, maybe 1st rounder. But I do love these underdogs, these like Cincinnati's, UCF, stuff like that from that conference. But I'm gonna have to stick with Notre Dame on this
Well,
one.
we're, not
But I
we're
think
not picking them here. We're just talking about.
okay,
them.
yeah,
Like, again, we don't know
no.
what's gonna. We're not picking these because we don't know what's gonna happen between
Yeah.
now and then. Dudes can tear ACLs.
No, it's a
We can
huge
have
chance that they can
transfers.
do it. It's a huge chance they can do it. They are the better team. They have multiple guys that are going to get drafted. It's it's probably the best team Cincinnati will ever see. Hopefully they can keep on building past this
I
because
think
of the recruiting.
Cincinnati better hope they can do it this year because Luke Fickell to me is going to be the hottest name in the coaching search
Oh, yeah.
for next year. I mean, you have a former Ohio State coordinator who's turned Cincinnati into a G5 power
Yes.
during his time there. I think Luke Fickell is going to get a massive payday coming up after next year. I thought he should have gotten it after this year, but just a weird year. I just don't think the right job opened up for him. I think one maybe to watch out for is if Penn State does have a disappointing season, could James Franklin be on the move? And then I think Luke Fickell would be a good pick there. I mean, I don't want to fire anybody before the season starts, but that's one job
Okay.
I'd be looking at. Some other games of interest here. We were just talking about Alabama. For the most part, I'll just ask this: who's the top contender in the SEC West?
Alabama. Oh, outside of Alabama?
Yeah,
Oh, dang. That's hard.
you're gonna be the only person in the country saying that, Cody.
LSU, yeah.
It's just because it's your.
I actually go Auburn. They're returning Bo Nix. I think Bo Nix is
Really?
going to do his thing.
Not the
Yeah.
answers I expected. For the most part, the consensus around the country is Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Right? Even though they lose Kellen Mond, they have a really talented backfield led by Isaiah Spiller. They have some dudes across that defensive front. I mean, losing Buddy Johnson hurts, but they have really good players on that defense. You have a majority of your offensive line back. You have some studs at wide receiver. And a lot of people have said the quarterback competition is pretty open right now for Texas A&M, but they feel like those quarterbacks fit Jimbo Fisher's offense better than Kellen Mond, even though Kellen Mond set all kinds of records at Texas A&M. They think the offense is actually going to flourish a little bit at Texas A&M. With as good as that defense is, they were the team in the SEC outside of Florida, but in the SEC West that played Alabama the closest last year. A lot of people have Texas A&M as that top contender. Right now, Alabama is a 10.5-point favorite at Texas A&M. So if that tells you anything about the SEC West right now, it's Alabama and everyone else, at least in the preseason, because they're saying your top contender in a home game is a 2-point dog or a 2-score dog, to the favorite. So that's kind of where the SEC West is at right now. In a battle of the two top SEC East teams in a lot of people's mind, Georgia right now currently a 7-point favorite over Florida. If I could go ahead and bet on that now, I would. Like I'll take that now. If you're giving me Georgia +7 or -7, against Florida, I'm taking that all day.
Yeah, I agree. I think Georgia's about to smoke Florida because they haven't really improved that defense at all.
Cody Queen, former recovering Florida fan,
Don't
now an LSU
even with
fan.
this guy. They have not improved their defense. Georgia has immensely improved their offense, even though they lost George Pickens. And Florida is not going to be able to keep up scoring because obviously Georgia's defense is going to. I think Georgia's defense is going to be stout this year.
We're going to find out.
It's going to be stout.
Definitely
this
that front seven is going to be stout.
Yeah.
A game I've had my eyes on because I think this is going to go a certain way. Texas right now, and this game is going to be fun, and it's a historical game. Texas is going to hit the road to take on Arkansas right now. Texas is a 3.5-point favorite over Arkansas. Watch out for the Hogs.
I'm going with
Upset alert.
I think Arkansas is going to be good this year. I think they're going to be fun to watch. Them Hogs out there.
You want to talk about a party?
Oh, yeah.
You talk about a party? If Arkansas can find a way to beat Texas at home, Little Rock is going to be the coolest place on earth.
It is.
So I mean that's going to be fun.
I'm just not a believer in Texas lately. I'm just
well,
not.
They got new again. Steve Sarkisian out at Texas now.
Yeah,
they're going to have a new quarterback because the Sam Ehlinger era has come to an end. Because you're having a new quarterback. You have the offensive guru out there right now in Steve Sarkisian.
Yep.
I mean a guy who I thought did well with the Falcons, did unbelievable with Alabama, and I think now that he's had his time in the Nick Saban coaching tree, he's gone through that, the car wash down there in Tuscaloosa, come out clean and gotten arguably the most sought after job in college football. I think he's going to be really good out there, but I just think that game year one, Arkansas is ready for it. They got a good team. I think that's going to be a fun one to watch. A couple other games of interest here. The two top contenders in the ACC, I would think Miami at North Carolina. Right now, Vegas has North Carolina as a 2.5-point favorite in that game. So that to me tells me right now they believe North Carolina is the top contender to Clemson in the ACC. You're shaking your head, but I would ask who, if not North Carolina, who?
Miami.
Maybe.
I think
Nah, I
Miami
like
is
North
spoke to Alabama, but I still think Miami is a better team than UNC.
I mean,
Ah.
that's a battle of returning
I go
quarterbacks.
Miami.
Two really good, I would say, Heisman candidate level quarterbacks.
Which one's the
And
better
De'Aaron
quarterback?
King.
I'll go Sam.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'll go
Yeah.
Sam too.
I thought Sam Howell didn't regress last year, but kind of plateaued. But also, North Carolina was more of a running team. You had 2 running backs drafted in the
Great
first
running backs, yeah.
3 or 4 rounds of the NFL draft last year.
First 3 rounds, yep.
Yeah, so they had 2 really good running backs, and it was just 2020 was a weird year, right? That's why I'm not ready to write off Bo Nix yet, is because you're a freshman going to sophomore, and it's in the middle of 2020, kind of everything thrown off. That's a really important developmental year. I'm going to call 2020 a wash. I think Howell's going to be a lot better.
Okay.
A lot of people think he might be the first quarterback off the board coming up.
Hey, he's
in
got
the
that
next
big
draft.
arm that all
Dude's
NFL
got a
drafts
cannon.
like. Yeah.
Dude's got a cannon. My only worry with him is dude kind of got that dad bod going on right
Hey,
now.
so does old boy from last year from freaking Alabama.
Matt Jones.
Matt Jones, yeah. Yeah, he do.
Boys.
Yeah, Mac Jones does not skip the carbs there, and I respect that because
Yeah.
me neither, Mac. Finally, here quickly though, Georgia a 9-point favorite at Auburn. Do you think that's interesting? Because I probably have that one as a little bit more, but I think Auburn's getting a lot of respect just based off of their coordinator hires. You go out, you have Derek Mason as your defensive coordinator, Mike Bobo as your OC, and Brian Harsin is a very well-respected offensive play caller. Now you're a head coach. I think they're getting a lot of credit for their coordinator hires. They're going to be a tough out this year, even with kind of a depleted roster.
I don't think Auburn's going to be good this year at all. I think Arkansas is going to have a better record than Auburn.
That is a bold prediction.
bold.
Yeah, that's really bold.
Not going to be good this year at all.
I think
That's
Auburn,
really bold.
I think Auburn is going to be battling LSU for that 3rd spot in the SEC West. They want to go to the Outback Bowl, baby. And I think they're going to be battling.
Yeah.
They're going to be battling LSU for that honor. We got to take a quick break. We'll come back. Final segment next. Game 1 coming up tonight between the Hawks and the Milwaukee Bucks. I need predictions, guys. Cam, quickly, who you got?
Hawks. Give
Hawks.
me the Hawks.
Hawks, baby.
I got the Bucks. They're taking game 1 at home. That's coming up a little bit later tonight. Also, we'll have coverage for you of the Atlanta Braves. They try to go for the series win against the New York Mets, currently 4 games back in the division right now. It could be a huge win and a turning point for the Atlanta Braves. You got Chris Domino from 680 The Fan coming up here in a little bit on 3 and Out. We'll also catch up with Brooks Austin from Dogs Daily of SI.com coming up next.